Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Ed, an architect, and I want to help you avoid making mistakes when decorating your home. If you're renovating your living room, kitchen, bedroom, or just live in an apartment, I'm gonna tell you about 15 outdated decor choices that we're no longer using in current projects and that are no longer trends, alright? These are options that you may or may not choose, and I'm here to help you avoid making mistakes in your project. The first decoration that we should never recommend to a client, especially in a new project, is diagonal flooring. This was a common style of flooring installation, especially when the room was out of square. However, when large format porcelain tiles appeared, this diagonal installation style was left aside. I've done a lot of diagonal floor installations myself, that diagonal flooring. Where you have a room that's completely out of square, the room is really crooked. And then the diagonal flooring fits perfectly there. It disguises your room that's out of square. But due to the advanced technology of porcelain tiles, larger format porcelain floor tiles, this decoration, this installation style kind of got left aside. We left that option aside. Exactly because the bigger the floor tile, the better. You have fewer seams, less grout. The design of the porcelain tile stands out more. It gives your floor a more luxurious look and looks much more beautiful, right? So that's why diagonal flooring is no longer an installation style we use. It's no longer a decorating style that we use nowadays. So this is the first outdated decoration that we can't recommend for your new project. The second outdated decorating style that I personally don't recommend in projects, unless the client insists a lot, is a fully upholstered chair. If we think about having a chair right at our dining table that's beautiful and matches our decor, it's also good to consider how easy it is to clean these items. Because if it's fully upholstered, right, you'll end up having to constantly clean the backrest, which is the part that's always going to be in contact with your hands. Having a beautiful chair at our dining table is everyone's dream, right? To be part of our decor of our dining room. A beautiful chair that matches our table. But if you have the option to choose a chair where the upholstery isn't on the backrest, it's going to be much better. Precisely because of the cleaning issue and functionality in your daily life. Dining chairs that we're constantly using in our daily lives and that have upholstery, if they're fully upholstered and you're always grabbing them to pull out or push in, they're going to get dirty much more easily, right? So for cleaning and functionality reasons, if you can choose a chair where the backrest isn't upholstered, it will be much better for you in your daily life. And I guarantee you that there are several models available that you can choose for your dining table without having upholstery on the backrest. Another style of decoration that we don't use much nowadays is flooring with wider joints. I've done this a lot myself too, laying floor tile or wall tile with wider joints. However, nowadays with technology on our side, right, the design with minimal grout joints or much tighter joints is becoming more popular in home design. Just like I mentioned to you that we don't lay floor tile diagonally, automatically using tiles and coverings with grout. Right? The joint between them being very wide, 4 or 5 millimeters, is already a trend that we don't use anymore, right? We have porcelain tiles with wonderful technologies that allow you to have joints very close to each other, 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeters, 2 millimeters, always following the recommendation of each manufacturer, right? When you're going to install this porcelain tile, especially large format, check there, especially on the box. On the packaging of your porcelain tile, it will say the minimum joint you can use for that tile. For flooring and in that size, right? So having flooring, having wall covering, but a tile on your wall where the joint is too wide, I don't like it. I'll be honest with you, I don't like it. And it's not really recommended nowadays. Since more and more the joints between the tiles end up being closer to each other and the look is much better with a tighter, cleaner grout line, all right? So flooring or tiles with very wide joints, that's outdated decor. Look at this one right here. Do you think it's too much? Having a colorful countertop in our kitchen. I know it's really beautiful, right? Having a countertop in our kitchen, a different color, full of shine, really standing out. But over time, that can get tiresome for you who live in that place. Have you ever thought about having that countertop, your sink, your cooktop countertop in your kitchen, and it's purple, yellow, green, blue, which we know is possible? that there are these materials in those shades. It's amazing. It stands out on its own. It feels luxurious, its own shine. But think about it. Over the years, you seeing that decoration there every day, won't it get boring for you? You know, that striking color, it totally takes over, right? The shine and highlight of your kitchen. Only it will be the highlight, only the stone. Your countertop will be the highlight. No other decorative object on your countertop in your kitchen will stand out when it's near your countertop. So it's a decoration that's really over the top, very luxurious. It fits really well with some design styles. We can't rule it out, just like all the other decorations I'm talking to you about here. But if you have the opportunity, if you have the option to choose between a more discreet countertop, a calmer tone, you know, a style or model that matches your kitchen and your cabinetry, go for that model. And not having a purple, blue, or yellow countertop that will stand out more than the other items in your kitchen decor. Do you remember those plaster decorations with a lot of details on the ceiling? That's right, when I talk about very detailed plaster, I'm referring to the older models full of grooves, reliefs, beveled or rounded corners. Nowadays, we don't really recommend this style in new projects. Look, there's something else I want to highlight for you here as well. Having a classic design doesn't mean it's dated. You know, I always tell you here in the videos, define the style of your project. Whether it's going to be contemporary, rustic, classic, more urban, greener with lots of plants and vegetation and so on. Define the style of your project. Then you can choose decorative items that match that style. And when we choose, for example, a contemporary decor, a cleaner, lighter, visually simpler decor, we can't choose. Very detailed plaster decorations full of grooves, moldings, lots of relief, rounded corners, beveled edges with pointed details, right? It was a really nice decoration, very beautiful. I've done it a lot myself. If you watch old videos here on the channel, you'll see that there are a lot of decorations like that. But those are decorations that fit that time, for that period, for that era. Nowadays, if you ask me, I'll always say, look, let's go for a more contemporary decoration, cleaner, simpler, which gives you the option to go bold with other decorative items in your house. Imagine you design a living room and fill your ceiling with a lot of detailed plaster work. It alone will take all the attention in your living room. You won't be able to do anything else. The more you add, the more overwhelming it becomes. It may seem like it will look nice, but it often ends up too busy. So a plaster decoration with a lot of detail, very intricate, full of moldings and reliefs, we don't recommend that anymore these days. Look at this other item here too, which is kind of out of fashion, and you'll agree with me. It's having a very high pile or very shaggy rug in your living room. Well, this one here. I know there will be people who disagree with me, but think about it. Having a very high pile or overly shaggy rug, besides being a lot of work to clean, can also trap a lot of dirt day to day. Have you ever imagined yourself in your TV room, for example, where it's very common to have a rug, and you have that rug with a really high shaggy pile? It's great, it's really nice to lie down or walk on that rug. But for everyday life, guys, for the rush of our daily routine, especially if you want a really functional design style, this type of very shaggy rug just won't work for you. The ideal thing is for you to have a smoother rug with that surface made of a very low pile, right? Which makes it easier for you to clean in your daily routine. So that's another outdated decoration as well, which I currently don't recommend in projects, using rugs that have a lot of pile shag or a very high pile. I know a lot of people probably have this at home for obvious reasons, right? Which is the wardrobe set above the bed. We can find this style of cabinetry very easily in stores. But in our daily lives, it's not very functional. Imagine having to climb on the bed or stand up to get something there like a blanket or a towel. Anyway, it's not very functional. Have you ever stopped to imagine having that upper section of your wardrobe right above your bed? Imagine every time you need to get a comforter, a blanket, a towel, or something you stored there, you have to stand up on the bed. That's totally disproportionate. It's not very functional. But for you, I agree with you. Look, for those of you who live, especially in an apartment, we know that nowadays apartments are getting more and more compact. There isn't much space to make use of your wardrobe, so I agree with having that cabinetry up there. But if you have a big, nice bedroom and you can have other cabinetry or wardrobe options in your room, we usually always suggest that on the wall where the bed will be placed, we go with a nice headboard, right? Upholstered all the way to the ceiling or halfway up the wall with LED lighting coming from behind. Create nightstands on the sides of the bed, maybe hanging a pendant light, which looks great. Wallpaper is also another really nice decoration for that wall. Cabinetry above your bed should only be used if space is very limited and there's no other option. Otherwise, besides not being very functional, it's also not a decoration I would recommend for your project. So guys, are you enjoying these tips here? I'm sure that if you watch this video with me until the end, you won't make a mistake. Or at least you'll have the option to choose a decoration that's functional and beautiful, that's in line with the latest decoration trends, and not make a mistake, right? This video is for that. It's so you don't make a mistake with your decor. I'm giving you choices, options, so you don't make a mistake. And I'm sure that if you've made it this far, to this point in the video, it deserves a like. Leave your like for me on this video, okay? Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Just click that little red button down here, support us too, okay? And comment. Your comment is very important to us. Leave your comment down below for me. What do you think about this video, the tips, and what would you like to see in terms of content here on the channel? Look, here's another decoration item too, which isn't very common nowadays. It's a dining table with just a glass top. This item here, besides being, a public utility in the past, right? And even nowadays, some table models have a glass top, and it's just the glass top. And usually it's very strong glass, I agree. However, it's a bit dangerous, we know that. Ideally, besides the glass, you should also have a wooden base on your table. So, if you're going to buy a new dining table, especially a nice one, and you want a glass top, always choose to have a wooden base underneath to protect your glass, all right? To avoid possible accidents, right? Just the glass top, even if it's strong and reinforced glass, we know it's much easier to break, crack, and have accidents happen. That's why I personally don't recommend you use a dining table with just a glass top. Ideally, you should have a wooden base underneath your table and then have the glass top on top of it. This one, you'll agree with me, very large handles. Having cabinetry in your kitchen, especially in the living room or bedroom, with very large handles ends up overshadowing the beauty of the front of your cabinetry. And sometimes when we look at the furniture, right, what stands out the most are the handles. Have you ever thought about it? You have a door, a beautiful wood finish that you chose for your kitchen door, the drawer, the cabinet in your kitchen, and then you put a full-length handle on that door, on that drawer, right? What will stand out the most is the handle, so it's also a decorative item that we don't recommend you use. So, okay, and going against that style, nowadays you very easily have the push-to-open system. You just press the door and it opens. You have a little handle, a grip made right on the door of your cabinetry, your cabinet, your overhead cabinet, right? And there are also several models of more discreet handles, the kind that won't steal the spotlight, the decoration, the beauty of the front of your cabinetry. So go for it. And I always tell you, it's a choice. If you think it's cool, if it's functional to use a full-length handle on your cabinets, there's no problem at all. But think about it. If you want to highlight the front of your cabinetry, isn't it better to have a more discreet handle? Isn't that right? So it's another decorative item that's kind of out of fashion, and I don't even recommend it for design projects. All good, guys? So I hope you enjoyed and liked these amazing tips I brought you in this video, and I'm sure they're going to help you. So you don't make mistakes with the decoration in your house, in any room of your house. All right, I hope you enjoyed and liked it. Subscribe to our channel, like this video if you enjoyed it, and also leave your comment. What did you think of this content and what would you like to see here on our channel in a future video? Hugs, see you in the next video.